What's up guys, Shane Stars with Droid Modder X, and today we're finally going to unbox the Galaxy S6 Edge. Now I've had the S6 for about a week or so, and Verizon finally released theirs on the 10th. They did happen to ship out the pre-orders a day or two early. I had decided, since I already had the S6, not to pre-order and actually just went to the store and picked mine up the day of. Now, that being said, I was very lucky to have purchased the very last of the 32GB models of the Galaxy S6 Edge. They told me when I went in that it was a very popular device and that it actually was probably going to sell out. That was pretty surprising to me because normally on launch day I've been able to walk into Verizon and grab whatever phone has launched. The S6 Edge is pretty popular and Samsung's already stated that it would have limited availability, so I'm just glad that I got my hands on one. Let's go ahead and get started on this unboxing. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started with this unboxing. As you guys can see, this is the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge 32GB. This is the black sapphire version. Of course, it is Verizon 4G LTE certified. If we look at the back here, we can see the contents of the package. We have the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, pre-installed SIM card, which I will remove because I'll be using my own, wall USB charger, stereo headset, quick reference guide, global support brochure, and product safety and warranty brochure. So we'll go ahead and remove this sleeve. Set the sleeve to the side. Then we'll go ahead and pop the top to reveal the Galaxy S6 Edge. It is the black sapphire, and just by looking at it in the light, it looks blue. It doesn't look black at all. If we turn it around, go ahead and peel off the plastic here. It looks like whenever it's lit up, it's blue, and when the light is not hitting it, it's black, which is really cool. Okay, so my first impression of the phone is that I really enjoy the edges. I mean, it just makes it feel like a totally different phone than probably anything else you've ever held or experienced ever. And just the feel going from the edge and then from, you know, the edge into the center or the center into the edge. It's just a totally different experience, totally different feeling. We've got that glass back on the back. It just has that premium feel. We've got a metal band all the way around the sides there. We've got two volume buttons over on the left side, one power button on the right side. We've got our USB jack on the bottom, speakers on the bottom, and headphone jack on the bottom. Kind of resembles an iPhone, I'm not even gonna lie. But with these edges, not only do they give you some extra features, just a few extra features, not really a whole lot, but it just makes that phone feel so much thinner. I mean, I know it's not thin, because if you look at the center of the phone, it's the same thickness as, say, just the Galaxy S6, but with that tapered edge, it just makes the phone feel super thin and super premium. So we'll go ahead and look at the rest of the device here. We have a speaker up top. We've got our front-facing camera there, 16 megapixel camera with that f1.9 aperture. That's the Sony sensor built in. And I have to say, this camera is amazing. I've had some experience with the Galaxy S6 camera already, and this is probably the best camera that I've ever seen in any phone. That's including iPhones, any other Galaxy handset, any HTC device, any Sony device. This is hands down the best camera that I've ever experienced in a phone, period. We do have that flash there. Okay, and on the top here, looks like we have a microphone, IR blaster, and the SIM card slot. Now, as you guys can see, there is no removable battery and there's no SD card slot. So in previous versions like the Galaxy S5, the Note 4, you could remove that back and there would be a removable battery and also an SD card slot. Also, I have to mention this is not waterproof. So the S5 was waterproof. So just like the S6, this one does not have that waterproofing built in, which is kind of a bummer because it's something you come to expect from the previous version. But all in all, the design of this is awesome. Best design phone I've ever seen. Looks better than any iPhone I've ever seen for sure. Better than any other phone as far as the design is concerned, in my opinion. That's first impressions. So we'll go ahead and set the phone to the side and we will look into the box. Since this is an unboxing, this is just some reading material here. So you've got all of your reading material, stuff that every one of you guys are going to look at, I'm sure. We'll set that to the side for now. So we got the USB 2.0 charge cord there. We have the adaptive fast charging brick. So you'll be able to charge this 2600 milliamp hour battery in 50% in 30 minutes. And I tested that on the Galaxy S6 and that's what I got, was 50% in 30 minutes. They are advertising 1.5% for every minute. So you should get 45% in 30 minutes, or at least that's what they're advertising, but I actually got better than that. So there is that fast adaptive charge. Very happy to see that Verizon did not steal our headphones. So we actually have our headphones in the Galaxy S5 from Verizon last year in the Note 4. We didn't actually get any headphones. Everyone else did, and we were kind of left out on that. So we've got our Samsung headphones that come with that. That is awesome. So we'll go ahead and set everything to the side here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and boot it up, and we'll talk a little bit more about the specs. So we have here the QHD display. That is actually 2K, so it's 2 times the resolution of 1080p. On this size screen, the 5.1-inch screen, that's 1440 by 2560, which makes for 577 pixels per inch. So it's probably more pixels than your eye can actually pick up or see. So it's just going to be super duper clear, super duper crisp. And just by going off the Galaxy S6, it's one of the best screens on any phone out there. Much better than the M9, even better than the iPhones that I've seen. So excellent, awesome screen. Like I said, probably best in class on that screen. You guys saw how incredibly quickly that booted up. We'll talk just a little bit more about the specs. On the front side here, we do have a 5 megapixel camera. On the back, we've got that 16 megapixel camera with that Sony sensor. The aperture is f1.9. The shutter on this thing is instant. It is probably the quickest picture that I've ever taken. You just double tap the home button to bring up the camera, and you just take picture after picture if you want to. And they are super crisp, super clear. That Sony sensor is doing an awesome job in this phone. Okay, so as far as performance is concerned, this has the Exynos 7 octa-core processor. So 8 cores is clocked at 2100 megahertz, and we've got 3 gigabytes of RAM. So this thing should be blazingly fast. The only thing that could possibly slow it down is the fact that it's running TouchWiz. You guys know that I prefer AOSP, but even this version of TouchWiz seems to be pretty snappy, seems to be pretty fluid. I've not really noticed too many hiccups on the Galaxy S6. We should be able to say the same thing for the Galaxy S6 Edge. It seems to be, all in all, pretty snappy, pretty quick, and I'm not seeing much lag in this version of TouchWiz. You guys can see also that it has been pretty well cleaned down, and there's also, just as an extra benefit to Android Lollipop, there is the ability to disable some of the bloatware applications. So if you go into settings, you can actually disable those apps. They will not be erased from your phone, but you just won't see them in the app drawer. So if we go into settings and we go into storage, I always like to look at the available storage because TouchWiz can be heavy at times, most of you know. So going to storage, we have 32 gigabytes of total storage, 23 gigabytes available, so we're looking at a total of 9 gigabytes that's being used by TouchWiz alone. Because I've not added any applications, we just booted into the phone for the first time. And we've signed into our Google account, and that's pretty much it. So we're sitting here at 23 gigabytes, which for me personally, that should probably be enough. There is no SD card slot, so we can't really add to that storage, but there's all sorts of cloud storage services out there if 32 gigabytes is not enough. And then they do have 128 gigabyte versions of the Galaxy S6 Edge, so if you're willing to pay $1,000 for a phone, you can have pretty much all the storage you want. So aside from that, you guys can see there are a few little features here. I've got my notification panel that I can pull out from the Edge. And this is the People's app that I've heard about. I've not really dove into that yet. But you can add people here, and it's just a quick and easy way to get to your contacts, or at least the top 5 contacts. And there are just a few other little features like that. If you're looking for features, that won't really be a reason to spend the extra $100 on the Galaxy S6 Edge, in my opinion. The reason that you might want to spend the extra $100 on this phone is just the design is so cool. Having those edges on the side of this phone, it really is cool enough, or it is just, to me, it's that neat that you would want to spend the extra money on that. Talking more about the specs, I mentioned earlier this has a 2600 milliamp hour battery that's non-removable, but that should still be enough to get you through the day. At least it was enough to get me through the day on the Galaxy S6. Now I did notice that I ran out of battery probably about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. On my Nexus 6 and my Note 4, it would last me all the way through the day, and I'd have battery that would last me until I went to bed at night. That's not really the case with this phone. The phone seems to die at around 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the evening and needs to be charged. Even before I go to bed, I have to charge it just so I can get a little more use out of it. Now, really the only downside to that, seeing that we do have the adaptive charger where you can get 50% charge in 30 minutes, the only downside here is the long-term battery life. So this is a phone that's supposed to last you 2 years. That battery has just a certain amount of charge cycles. So the more and more you charge it, the least amount of time it's going to last. So this phone, if you're charging it all the time, if you're charging it 2 or 3 times a day, may only last you a year and a half versus, you know, maybe a little bit larger of a battery would have lasted us a little longer. Sometimes there is that payoff though, because now we have a thinner phone that is just a whole lot better looking. But we'll go ahead and jump into the app drawer real quick and take a look at what came with the phone here. It looks like we have all of our Amazon applications built into one specific folder. If we take a look, you can see the Amazon apps there. Verizon is just known for bloat. They put so much extra stuff that's not really necessary on their phones. We go into the Samsung folder. You have just a few Samsung applications. You've got the smart remote that'll make good use of the IR blaster. You've got S-Voice, S-Health, Milk, and Milk Video. If we go into the Verizon folder, this is where all the useless apps come in. You've got the NFL mobile. Some people will like that. You do have the mobile hotspot. That's probably the only useful thing there is the mobile hotspot. If you're not on an unlimited data plan like me, I'm on unlimited data, so that's really not useful for me at all. Verizon Protect, Verizon Navigator, a bunch of stuff that I will never probably use. It looks like we have the iHeartRadio pre-installed, and I'm not really sure where the rest of this came from. Candy Crush, Cookie Jam, Panda Pop, Uber, and iHeartRadio. I wouldn't have installed those on my phone. I'm not sure if that came pre-installed or maybe it installed whenever I was logging into my Google account, but I've not had that on any of my phones, so I'm guessing it came pre-installed. Let me know in the comments, did these useless apps come pre-installed with your Galaxy S6 Edge? But all in all, guys, everything looks snappy. This is probably the most exciting device that I have unboxed in quite a while. Because it just looks totally different. It's something totally unique, something totally different. I have to say that Samsung really did an excellent job on this phone and the Galaxy S6. Very impressed with the design on both of those phones. Anyways, guys, that about wraps it up for this unboxing video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more content like this in the future. You can find more of me at droidmodderx.com. Follow me on Twitter at droidmodderx. Thanks, guys, for watching. Be blessed. I'll see you in the next one.